What is something you are convinced people do or pretend to like to seem more sophisticated? Ask long-winded questions during lectures/AMAs/etc. that they either don't really care about or already know the answer to look intelligent. Mine is not actually a question, it's more of a thought-provoking exercise. More of a comment than a question. The murder was justified. Please keep your comments for the feedback session, we only have time for questions and answers now. There's a feedback session? No. Eat Snickers with a knife and fork. What else would I do? Eat it with my hands? The other day I saw a guy eating M&Ms with a spoon. As long as you don't put the spoon in your mouth, then dip into the communal bowl of M&Ms, I don't see a problem. Oh yeah. You can't double dip. From now on, just take one dip and end it. Luxury brands. Some patterns are so ugly, like the Gucci one. The designs are so weird. I don't have an issue with luxury brands. I have the issue with the luxury brands that are just the brand logo plastered everywhere. It shows a total lack of fashion sense by the people wearing it. Like they're trying to draw attention to themselves for wearing the brand rather than dressing in a way that's actually fashionable or looks good on them. It is to my belief that many members of our worldwide civilization prefer to elongate the complexity of their lexicon in order to impress a higher degree of intellectual sophistication than one may conclude otherwise. People talk fancy. Got it. Why use many word when few word work fine? Why many word if few understand? Many word? Few work. Talking about the colleges they could have gone to or been admitted to, if they had wanted to go there or some unforeseen calamity hadn't hobbled their chances. Like, I totally had the grades and the perfect record to get into Harvard, but I decided not to apply because Ball State U had a much better aquatic exercise science program, which is what I was into at the time. The college version of the old, and we totally would have made state, but for bit. If only coach. Replying with "yeah, I know" to every piece of information. If you have someone like that around you, I beg you to tell them a made-up fact, and trust me, they absolutely will say that they knew about it. Yeah, I know, happens to me too, I know. I made up a book of the Bible and quoted it to people like that back when I went to church. Not many people questioned the Book of Samson. If someone talked to me about the Book of Samson, I'm at a stage in my life that I would zone out and yeah, I know them just to get them to go away because I assume they're either misinformed and dumb or messing with me, and either way I don't have patience for it, lol. Repeat the same shit in English. In India it's a big deal. Can you please explain this one in more detail? In India, when you say some shit in English it gets more acceptance than when you say the same shit in the local language. If you can speak English, you are automatically high-class/sophisticated/educated. It's weird to me because in England we think of French as the more sophisticated language, and yet only a pretentious arsehole would start showing off that they know French for no practical reason. For me is some of the higher-end wines. I thought you wrote some of the higher-end wives. Sommelier here. There is absolutely a ton of snobbery and pretentiousness in wine, especially in the high-end spectrum. There are naturally big differences in quality per price range: €3, €30, €300, €3,000 bottles, etc. What no one here has mentioned is that understanding and sensing these differences is something that requires practice, like anything in life. Someone who has only drunk cheap supermarket wine their whole life won't necessarily have the nose or palate to perceive the nuances of a higher-end wine, thus having a hard time understanding what's special about the wine and therefore justifying the price, which leads to high-end wine is bullshit kind of thoughts. As a comparison, think about a super skilled jazz pianist and the average person. If both listen to the same jazz piece, the pianist is going to understand the music on a completely different level, melody, harmony, rhythm, dynamics, feel, etc., compared to the average person, even if they hear the exact same piece of music. A lot of the bullshit snobbery come in when people who don't know much about wine have access, money, to drink high-end wine. Say they are reading or have read very dry text/books and telling others about it. Also name-dropping reading philosophy, usually in those words. You might be able to pin them down on a genre, but the authors are always too obscure. Even for Google, bro? I was bullshitting at work a couple years ago about Will Ferrell movies. This hip guy swoops in to say he watches the movies with his friends, and they say they've read enough philosophy that those movies become even funnier. Probably, but cool story, bro. You're really shoehorning in that your friends read philosophy in a discussion about stepbrothers? We're tree trimmers, STFU, and grab a chainsaw and contemplate how far you've fallen since your parents cut you off. Dude was also going on about how he was watching old Japanese existentialist movies with his girlfriend who lives a half-continent away and is totally a ballet dancer and also a professional musician. Again, we get it. You're a sophisticated gentleman, now pass me the chainsaw so we can finish up and get out of the heat. Extremely expensive bourbon. There are so many great bottles out there for $60 to $80. I'm convinced if you're paying over $100 you're paying for provenance and or the created scarcity. Probably true for other liquors as well, but I personally notice it most with bourbon. Yes, the provenance of it all, indeed. Polo. Water and the kind played on horses. I would love to play polo if I had a big field and a horse and knew how. It looks very fun. Yeah, and water polo is fun. I'm a pretty large individual, and I have fond memories of absolutely dominating at goalkeeper on water polo at summer camp. The pool was only 5 foot, so I was able to get pretty high out of the water. Being in Disney World when it's over 90 degrees and super crowded. The Disney adults really love to pretend they don't actually hate it. I gotta say, if I ever actually spend the money to take my family to Disney and it happens to be 95 degrees on the day we planned months in advance to be there, I'm sure as shit forcing myself to pretend I don't hate it. I'm so sorry, that sucks. The propensity of individuals to utilize an abundance of convoluted and recondite vocabulary with the sole intention of appearing erudite is an intriguing phenomenon that has persisted throughout human discourse, evoking questions regarding the authenticity of intellectual prowess versus the mere artifice of linguistic embellishment. However, the true measure of intellectual acumen lies not in the prolixity of one's lexical repertoire, but in the ability to articulate complex ideas with clarity, brevity, and genuine understanding, transcending the allure of pretentious grandiloquence in favor of meaningful and accessible communication. Reading research papers. Virtually everybody throws around research on something online. Myself included, hee. They might not have literally read the research paper, and only some article about some paper which actually has mixed results and a poor method. You misunderstand. You don't read the research paper. You read the abstract, then skim the paper to know the methods and what the data from the paper suggests in greater context. At least, that's what I do. Nobody enjoys reading or writing academic papers, not even academics. But yeah, a lot of people claim to read research who don't. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.